clinics. With 27 providers and 3 locations, someone can see you today.
It's Talkback, Central Louisiana's longest-running talk show. Whether it's the guests or the callers, Talkback is where Central Louisiana begins its conversation.
Well, good morning. Happy Tuesday morning to you from the studios of KSYL on Jackson Street here on Texas Avenue, almost at Jackson Street, I should say.
Enough.
We're almost around the corner from there, but glad to be along with you. Nathan Martin joining in with Stephen Maxwell and joining him online as well at Facebook. You can see us there at YouTube and who knows where else. But we're glad to be with you this day on this happy Tuesday morning. Stephen, I saw something in the break room this morning that caught my eye. Don't even know if you've seen it or not. Did you notice the little message on the vending machine?
No.
So I rarely go in there. Normally I come in with my my drink and my soda or my coffee or whatever I've got. Today I didn't have time to stop at my normal stop, so I decided to go in there and see if there was any coffee. There was no coffee yet, but there was a vending machine, and so I popped my card, got my soda, and then right next to it there is on the vending machine a Dallas Cowboys star.
Really?
And it says, "Welcome back, brother."
You haven't seen that? Oh, no. I know who did that, too.
Steven, you think?
No, I didn't
Jay?
do that. No, probably John Dogma.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's a huge Cowboys fan.
Well, there you go. It says, "Welcome back, brother," right there on the vending machine with the Cowboy star. So I thought, I didn't know if you'd seen that yet or not.
Oh, no, I rarely go in there.
I mean, you've been here long enough that it feels like you've been here forever, but
Yeah.
not,
I've been here a month.
That's right.
They had donuts in the break room yesterday morning, and I was enjoying that. Charlie Soprano brought some donuts.
Really?
I don't know where he gets them from, but they're top notch.
Well, maybe he'll bring some in today, because there were none there, but Charlie's not here yet.
I don't know about 2 days in a row. So it may have to be next week.
We'll have to ask him what his secret is, where he gets them from.
I want to know. I don't know what you call them, but they're like the round, brown-looking ones. Oh, they're so good.
Kind of like cake donuts, maybe.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Not very cakey. It's just not like a bear claw. I forgot what they call them.
I got you. We got some great donut shops in town. I'm a big aficionado of Harlow's over in Pineville.
Me
of course,
too.
the Shipley's brand. I think they have 3 stores here in Sinaloa. A lot of people like those.
I'm a big Shipley's
Atwood's
guy.
has, donuts. I don't even know if that doesn't even scratch the surface of what, our friends over at Atwood's have. And one of the things I love about the Atwood's family is the way that they are so positive about all the bakeries in the community. I mean, every time we talk to him and he'll come by and he'll tell what he's got, he'll say, but go by and check out, Harlow's and check out. He's just very complimentary, and that's just positive, I think, for the community.
They all have their own little different spin. Little cakes is the cupcakes and the Pop-Tart things they do. And Atwood's is a plethora of things. I think of them like it's like the fudge and the candies and the
Have you had their
cakes.
Chocolate-covered bacon?
No, I heard it was. I'm not really.
You're not a bacon guy?
I'm not really into that. I love their king cakes.
Okay.
And one of the top ones in Sinlaw.
Great.
It is so good. And then we got Doce Vita down the road. They do a good job too.
Yep.
It's like a different spin, Brazilian bakery.
We bought a cake from them for my daughter's birthday a couple of years ago. My daughter that we adopted from Colombia wanted that style, and they were the only ones in the area that did that. And man, it was absolutely delicious.
They have something called Napoleons there. They're fantastic.
Okay.
Anyway.
Well, it's Tuesday morning. We're glad you're along with us for the ride today. Nathan and Stephen here in the studio. Got a full show for you at 7:30. We're expecting a phone call from Robert Boo Maddox, who attended the Allen Parish Police Jury meeting yesterday, and he'll give us an update on what took place there with the lawsuit that Exxon brought, right?
We also expect a police juror to call in right before him sometime, Roland Hollins. So you get a little report from over there. I was looking for I couldn't go at 6 o'clock at night, but I was looking for somebody covering that last night, the Lake Charles stations, the Alexandria news outlets. I haven't seen anything yet.
Really?
So, yeah.
Well, that's amazing that nobody covered that.
I mean, it's a big lawsuit for sure, and it's going to kind of set the tone, I think, for things we could expect, in this ongoing discussion for quite some time. We did, at the Rapides Police Jury meeting yesterday, Woodworth Mayor David Butler, Boo Maddox, and Melody Slocum, and a firefighter, I forgot which district it was, came up to the podium after the meeting adjourned like, hey, we want to say something. And they, Mayor Butler came out very skeptical over CCS. And he says he wants answers, and they were all asking the police jury to almost take a stand and say what they believe on the CCS issue. President Craig Smith came back and said, really, it's in the state hands. We're listening to y'all. We want to make our own determinations. I've been listening to both sides, but, you know, besides lobbying to state lawmakers and the legislatures, there's really nothing we can do, you know, with statutorily the right word to say about that.
Sounds right, yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens, and if we see more elected officials come out against it or for it.
Mm-hmm.
We've heard some that are for it, so.
It is interesting. I mean, the balance that these elected officials, and I am one of them, but I'm like the low man on the totem pole for sure. But the balance that those, especially on the state level, have to bring with the desire to bring higher paying jobs and improve the economy versus the concerns that people have over what, you know, some see as an unproven technology. Sequestration itself. Carbon capture has been around for a long time. Carbon transmission lines have been around. I mean, if you look at how many pipelines are in Louisiana, you'd be stunned. There's just tons of them. But the sequestration part, I think, is really causing a lot of people to have questions about that we really haven't used it as an extensive technology. So that's really, I feel like, where the questions come, along with, of course, the eminent domain questions.
Yeah, 100%. We did interview Senator Bill Cassidy yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
We talked to him about that right here on KSYL. I clipped a video of the interview on the carbon capture part. It's on our Facebook page, Sunland Broadcasting, and my page, Stephen Maxwell, and KSYL's page. So check it out. We cut it up there for you so you don't have to listen to the 2-hour broadcast.
That's good. So, well, and then so that's at 7:30. We'll have those two calls from Allen Parish Police Juror and Boo Maddox giving us their updates. At 8 o'clock, we'll be joined by Pineville Mayor Joe Bishop, who will discuss, along with his Chief Operations Officer, Daryl Basco, to discuss tonight's City Council meeting, explain to us what happened at fireworks over at Bulow, where they had to delay the fireworks or postpone or cancel for that day. But let him give us the details about the plans to hopefully bring those fireworks back at another date.
Cool.
That's my understanding. I'll let him give the details. I'm hoping we can do it when it's not quite so hot.
Is there like and you might not know this, or you probably would know this, is there like an insurance or something that you get with fireworks if it doesn't happen? I've heard of that before.
I don't know.
I guess I'll find out.
We'll find out, yeah. I know they made an agreement with the vendor, so they're supposed to come back at another date.
Oh, awesome.
The downside is the Bag of Donuts, you know, already performed part of their show, so I don't know. We're going to find out. I was impressed with them. I know it shows my naivete, but I'd never heard of them before.
Oh, they're awesome.
And they put on quite a show.
They're one of the coolest cover bands in Louisiana. Them and what is it? What's the other one?
There was one around for a while that had a judge that was the kind of like the main voice and persona out of North Louisiana, but I can't remember their name as well.
The Cartoons?
No, that Cartoons was local, aren't they? Are they local?
No, they were good too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember.
Yeah. Well,
I'm trying to think.
We also, and then at 8:30, we're expecting a phone call from a gentleman who spoke last night at LSUA, Dr. David Ballantyne. He is a English historian from England who wrote a book recently called, I forget the name of it. It's about Reconstruction in Rapides Parish. I have it written down. Fractured.
You sent it to me.
Yeah. So, but he gave a presentation last night, and his book is available on Amazon. It's by LSU Press. Is who
Fractured Freedoms.
Fractured Freedoms. Okay.
Reconstructing Central Louisiana.
And so he says a lot of stuff has been written about Reconstruction in the South, like around New Orleans and the larger centers. But he felt like Central Louisiana was a perfect case study for understanding Reconstruction 1865 to 1880, roughly that 15-year period. So he'll be calling in at 8:30. We've got the phone lines lit up, and I don't know if one of them is our expected call, but we'll go ahead and go to the phone lines. Good morning. You're on Talkback with Stephen and Nathan.
Hey, good morning. Thank you for taking my call.
Morning.
I have a question I hope y'all can help me with, or Al, or especially Stephen. With this carbon capture, can you ask the powers that be if there is some kind of a loophole in our law that if this thing is pushed through, and there's a good chance it will be, that if the company has a problem and then cuts and runs and leaves us holding the bag, if the Louisiana citizenry can then take control of this thing and slowly just bleed this stuff off into the air and alleviate the problem. Or if we're stuck to have to pay millions upon millions of dollars to fight these leaks and the pain and suffering that they cause everywhere they pop up. They're talking about 8 or 10 or 12 in Vernon Parish alone, and some in Shreveport and Lake Charles. So is there a way that we can get ourselves out if this company runs out? I know it's going to take some investigative work, but Stephen, I think you're just the man for the job.
All right. So, I'll definitely ask around for sure. That's a good question.
Thank you so much.
That's a good one.
Thank you so much. Y'all are our greatest source. Thanks. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate that. Let's jump over to the next call. Good morning. You're on Talkback with Stephen and Nathan.
Hey, guys. I'm curious to see what Mayor Bishop's going to say, too, because if he says, because of the rain, I would remind him that those of us from Natchitoches who grew up there, we're used to seeing fireworks in the rain. So it's going to be interesting. Does anybody have any clues yet?
But why the fireworks were canceled?
Okay, yeah, why the fireworks? Because if they say, rain, I would remind them that Natchitoches does fireworks every year also, and I'd say a third of the time it's raining.
That's interesting.
It's in December.
Yeah, I don't know. I was there when the call came. I will tell you that it wasn't just rain. The wind was significant. Other people, including my booth, that had the little pop-up tents, we were having to hold them down. I saw one go flying off. There was quite a bit of wind as well mixed in with that rain, and that probably combined to make it unsafe. And, different vendors may be prepared for different setups, and perhaps this vendor wasn't prepared. We'll ask that. We'll find that out. That's a great question.
Okay, and like I said, we were over at a friend of mine's hangar over at Bulow. And, of course, we had a big advantage being there. But I will tell you, if you had a pop-up, one thing you can do is go to Lowe's and get you some 2.5 to 3 gallon buckets, and you put an eye bolt in concrete, make you about a 45 to 50 pound weight, 4 of them. You'd be amazed what that would hold down.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
And they're portable. You just throw them in the back of your truck.
Well, we were giving out free bottles of water, so we had this ice chest full of water, and we just tied it down to those ice chests were pretty heavy. So thanks for your call. I'm going to jump on one more before the break. Good morning. You're on Talkback with Stephen and Nathan. Good morning, caller. Go ahead. Caller, can you hear us? Okay, I think we may have lost that call. Thank you for giving us a shout. When we come back from the break, we are hoping to hear from Allen Parish Police Juror Roland Hollins, right? And then also perhaps a call from Boo Maddox. All that and more coming back with us here on Talkback.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Futures have been mixed this morning after President Donald Trump unveiled a wave of letters again threatening key trading partners with high tariff rates, even as he delayed the increased duties until August 1st and suggested that he was still open to negotiations. Wall Street started the week with a lower close right across the board, with declines of almost 1% for the Dow and the NASDAQ, and for the S&P 500 about 0.8%. U.S. auto safety regulators are investigating whether earlier recalls of Ram pickups did enough to address a flaw that could lead to trucks rolling away unexpectedly. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration received 20 reports indicating previous recall fixes failed to address the problem. NHTSA's latest action covers almost 1.2 million pickups made by Ram from the 2013 through 2018 model years. Stellantis said it's cooperating. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
If you'd like to take part in the show today, call the BOM Bank Talk line at 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. And remember, if you're looking to purchase or refinance your home, call Christina Bagwell at the BOM Bank Mortgage Department at 448-2430.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. To take part in the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK.
And we welcome you back to Talkback this Tuesday morning. Stephen and Nathan with you on July the 8th. And we're joined on the line by Allen Parish Police Juror Allen Holland. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning. So you guys had that big meeting in Allen Parish last night, the police jury meeting. One of the big things you talked about was an ordinance that Exxon Mobil is suing the parish over. What can you tell us, and what happened at the meeting?
Well, we had been sued for putting the ordinance together that would, we were trying to push back on the fact that we didn't want CO2 pipelines to be 500 feet of our school children or our residents. And there's other things that we were trying to get passed in the legislature, trying to get some very important bills passed this session. We thought we would get these bills passed. We put an ordinance together in anticipation of getting these bills passed, where our ordinance would already be in place, and we wouldn't have to wait. But we didn't get these bills passed, Stephen. So, it's hard to believe that we can't even get bills passed in Baton Rouge that would move these dangerous CO2 pipelines, 500 feet of our school children and our residents. And so Exxon, they sued the parish over the ordinance because the parish, doesn't have the jurisdiction. The state does. So, last night we took actions that we called for a public hearing to rescind the ordinance, because, that's what we have to do to get in compliance.
How did the meeting go? What did they talk about? Did you have public comment?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We had a lot of people come in and most people, they support us because they know that the police jury has, the Allen Parish Police Jury and the other three parishes that have joined us has been out front, but Allen Parish is probably the furthest one out on the limb, so we had people drive all the way from Baton Rouge, Vernon Parish, different parishes, Rapides Parish, to come in and support our efforts. And, and our people, some of our people, wanted us to hold, wanted us to hold firm. But sometimes when you in these type of battles and you're up against a corporate giant, such as those folks are, and you have no foundation under you to stand, you have to make decisions that's best for the parish and the police jurymen at that very moment. It doesn't mean that we out of this fight, Stephen, but what it meant was that we had to take one step back and put the pressure where it really is. Our battle is not so much with these corporate giants. Our battleground is in Baton Rouge because, some of the legislators was calling, there's pressure being put on them, and the other parishes, if we would have had 15 or 20 parishes, Stephen, that was with us, it would be a different battle. But whenever you out there, we've been out front for a long time in this thing. And, it's a tough situation to be in because you're fighting for what's right for your parishes, but you don't have Baton Rouge has failed to pass bills to give local government authority to do what's best for the people they serve. And that's where we at. Our parishes, House Bill 4, we need to call a special session and bring House Bill 4 back up and allow the parishes, Stephen, to make a decision how we're going to live our lives and how we're going to, our way of life is decided by the people. It shouldn't be by Washington or Baton Rouge. Washington should not tell the states what to do, and the states should not enforce their will on the parishes, and all three should respect the citizens' rights. And, we've been fighting hard for not only our people in Allen Parish, but for all 64 parishes. It's a tough fight.
What did the police jury decide last night?
Well, what we decided last night, we passed a resolution to take the enforcement out of the ordinance, the enforcement part out of the ordinance. The enforcement's still there, but that's what was recommended that we do. And we called for a public hearing. I think it's the first meeting, the Monday of next month. We called for a public hearing on the ordinance. And the people, to give them another opportunity to speak out. So the police jury, we serve the people. And anytime you put an ordinance in, you got to have the public's input. And anytime you're going to rescind the ordinance, you have to have the public's comment period and give them an opportunity to speak. And so, that's what we having to do, and all of it because of the fact that Baton Rouge failed the parishes and the people and the citizens of our state by not passing bills this last session is the reason that we're in this situation.
And on the phone is Allen Parish Police Juror Roland Hollins talking about that meeting in Oberlin last night. When you saw that State Representative Mike Johnson from here took a stance on carbon capture sequestration and basically said he's willing to, advocate for a special session on this issue with eminent domain, what was your reaction to that?
Well, I mean, I was, actions are louder than words, Stephen. I've been in this business a long time. When the heat's on politicians, they say and do a lot of things. But that's exactly what we need. We need them not only to say these things, we need them to act upon it. And that's exactly what needs to happen. We need a special session where we can go and address these problems and give back the citizens of this state and the parishes the authority to be able to decide. So yeah, I was very thankful that he has come out and supported the ideal, but where's the actions? That's what we need. We need actions, not words.
We need to take a quick break. We'd love to come back and chat with you a little bit more and get your thoughts on the next steps. So we'll be right back with more after this.
KSYL.
Put some fun in your future with Pleasure Pools. Right now, get a 16 by 32 in-ground pool for just $39,995. Financing available. Pleasure Pools has been building top-quality fiberglass, gunite, and vinyl pools across Louisiana and East Texas for over 30 years. Want more? Add a spa, waterfall, or custom feature, and we've got you covered for maintenance and remodeling too. Call 318-357-9000 or visit pleasurepoolsinc.com.
Hey folks, it's Tommy Walter inviting you to Blues and Cues, July 11th at the Riverfront Center in downtown Alexandria. Come enjoy Crystal Thomas, Sam Joyner, Amy Allen, and MC Tony Groove. Plus, free. That's free barbecue. Doors are open at 6:30. The show starts at 7. Tickets are free, but the number is limited, so grab yours today at thomasbwalter.com.
Let's give them the blues.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind, to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my two sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we'd want our own family treated. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-885-9700. 800-885-9700. That's 800-885-9700.
The Greenhouse presents Dogs in the Back of Pickups.
If you must drive with your dog in the pickup bed behind you, here are a few tips. The best option is to place your dog in a crate with a cushioned floor and strap it down securely. If that's not possible, put the dog in a harness with a short tether to limit the dog's mobility and ensure safety from strangulation. And of course, drive safely to avoid quick stops and turns. The Greenhouse.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYL. Now back to Talk Back.
We're back on KSYL. We were joined online by Roland Hollins, police juror from Allen Parish. And Juror Hollins, what are the next steps you think? You're going to step aside, you're going to have the public hearing, and you're going to allow people to speak on it, and then you say you're probably going to take out the enforcement provisions of the ordinance, but the rest of the ordinance expressing the juror's displeasure will remain in effect?
Well, what we're doing is we're going to have to look at an ordinance that's within our jurisdiction. Trying to do as much as we possibly can that stays within our boundaries. So, yeah, we're looking at all kind of different ways to try to protect our parish and our people. But so just because last night happened and next month's meeting is happening is because of that we being sued, and individual jurors can be sued as well, and so it's got us in a bad situation. But, I try to tell the people, to encourage the people, it's a step back. It's one step back, but we're going to continue to step forward. We have no choice. And I want to encourage other, and here's what police jurymen don't recognize, and especially in the 1520, there's 44 rural parishes in the state. And what they don't, there's 18 parishes that these things are coming to. And what they don't understand and have not recognized, I think they're starting to, that we're a sample ballot of what's coming to you next. When your people wake up to the fact that they can, their minerals can be stranded for billion-dollar corporations' gain, whenever they figure out that they can sue you for your land rights. When they find out that they can put CO2 pipelines 500 feet of your school children and your residents, and all these negative things that comes with this, and it's all by force. You have no say. You have no authority because they have stripped local government's authority away, and they did it quietly ever since 2020. And in 2023, there was 9 CCS bills, 8 bills to give back local government authority, to allow the people to vote on it, to move the CO2 injections to the Gulf of Mexico, not underneath our water officers. There's been so many bills to protect citizens we haven't been able to get through. And the same thing happened all the way into this year. How in the world have we got to a place, the United States of America and in our great state of Louisiana, when you remove the citizens' right to decide, the risk is worth the benefit?
I wanted to ask you also, have you engaged the Police Jury Association?
Yeah, Mr. Guy Cormier and them, they do know this situation. And look, here's why it's so important that elected officials don't need to count on Baton Rouge to defend their citizens, because it's not going to happen this time. If our local elected officials don't rise up and protect their people, this ain't going to happen. But if we can get 10 or 15, 20 parishes together, we can fight and we can win. But you can't count on Baton Rouge, because Baton Rouge already proven whose side they own, and they own industry side. They not on the citizens. So we got to stand together locally. So that's what we've been trying to do is don't count on Baton Rouge this time. In the most important situation or the most important things that we'll ever have to deal with as the open up is in this very moment of time. And if you don't rise up and protect your people and your citizens, it's not going to happen.
Well, Allen Parish Police Director Roland Hollins, thanks so much for coming on. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All right, we appreciate that very much from our police director. We do have on the line with us next. We're going to go to the line, Robert Maddox. A lot of folks know him as Boo. Mr. Maddox, good morning. Welcome to Talkback.
Good morning, gentlemen.
We understand you were at the meeting last night?
I was.
We'd love to hear your perspective.
I think it was a great meeting. You could see the concern, feel the tension in the room of the people that really didn't want Allen Parish to back off. But I personally think Allen Parish Police Jury did the right thing in this situation. What I look at this as is big oil, big industry attacking rural poverty parish within Louisiana, a parish that can't fight back for itself because they don't have the funding to fight back.
What's kind of the next step for y'all's movement after this meeting? What do you want to see happen?
I want to explain something real quick about y'all's movement. I need people to listen and pay attention. Truthfully, we shouldn't have to be having this conversation. I shouldn't have to be doing this. I shouldn't have to be talking about it. I'm not the most educated person in the world, but I got sense enough to search out and look into things and see what this is really about. And I really think it's time for our politicians to tell us the truth, because I know they know. Our elected officials, maybe not on the local level, but on a state and level, they know what's going on, because this is not a Louisiana issue. This is a national issue. And if I got time this morning, I'd like to prove that. And people can do their own homework. Roland made a point, that if people would rise up, we could win. There lies the problem. Our fathers and our grandfathers wouldn't have settled for this for a minute. They would all be gathered down at that courthouse or down at that state capitol, and they'd be demanding to protect the rights of the things that they own. We own our pore space, and people don't understand that, how important it is, and how much violation against the people's eminent domain is going to be imposed. Because it doesn't matter if you want CO2 under you or not. If they start injecting this under the ground and you're within that plume, you're getting it whether you like it or not.
So we're on, Mr. Max, we're going to take a break real quick and come back and give you the opportunity, you said, to show how it's a national level, or a national issue, and hear more of your comments. Back with Mr. Boo Maddox right after this.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
Close your eyes and feel the sun-drenched breeze of southern Spain. From whitewashed villages to golden beaches, this is where history meets passion. Moorish palaces, flamenco night, and unforgettable tapas. This small group, escorted by Annie and Christine in March 2026, will visit Seville, Cordoba, Granada, Marbella, and more. Join our spectacular Spain tour, beaming with culturally rich and local experiences. FreedomTravelLLC.com, your international travel architect.
To take part in the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYL. Now back to Talkback.
And we welcome you back to KSYL as we were continuing our conversation a bit off air with Robert Boo Maddox. And a lot of folks know him as Boo. I know him as Mr. Maddox. I don't know if I think I've met you a time or two. I saw you at the Pineville meeting on Monday night, and I think I've seen you at a men's retreat, so I'm familiar with you. But you're obviously very passionate about this, and one of your concerns you're saying is that this becomes a national issue because it's not just a Louisiana issue. Can you expound on that?
Well, I'm passionate about people standing up for what they believe in. And I'm passionate about leaving my children a better and more heavenly place than they received it. We have an obligation to be stewards of this land. And there's just a lot of issues that we ignore. We're too busy. I'm not pointing fingers at every person, but, we've got to slow down enough to at least pay attention to this is probably the most serious thing we've ever faced. And people don't understand the severity of it, and I'd like to try to explain that this morning. A lot of people, I would like for people to quit saying that we can't stop this, because that's exactly why we can't, is because we go in believing that we can't. I'm the little train that thought it could, and so I want to say that, I'm grateful and thankful for a lot of the good things that our legislators do, but in this situation, they're making some promises. Me and Roland spent a couple of days on the phone with Iowa elected officials, and we learned a whole lot about what they've been doing the last 4 years. And what they've been doing the last 4 years is fighting pipeline and eminent domain on pipeline. Pipeline is on the surface. It has nothing to do with your mineral rights. The reason they're not fighting sequestration, which is the injection of the CO2 into the ground, into our pore space, is because they don't own their pore rights, their pore space rights. We do. Every citizen in Louisiana that owns land owns their pore space. Now, these legislators know that here in Louisiana.
And now, let me ask a clarifying question. Is that a state constitution that defines that? Our constitution gives us the right and theirs does not?
I'm going to guess you're right on that.
Okay.
And I want to say that they know that word. They know the difference in the two words. And so, having said that, when they make these promises of new bills that are going to hit the floor, they never want to put that word in it. They can go back and edit their post and add the word sequestration. We're going to protect your eminent domain, and we're going to protect the people with carbon capture. Yeah, but put the word sequestration in there. Don't leave it out. It's way more important than carbon capture. And so, and people need to define and understand that capturing is catching it at the plant, compressing it, putting it into a pipeline, moving it to the well injection site. But sequestration is the actual injecting it into the ground. Now, what I want to talk about is you have to have storage capacity in order to hold this. So we'll look at a couple states. Now, Iowa was originally projected to send their CO2 that they captured up to North Dakota. North Dakota has the ability to hold approximately 252 billion metric tons. Okay, now 252 billion. I want y'all to remember that in North Dakota. But South Dakota blocked them by making eminent domain illegal. So then their second choice to send their CO2 is Wyoming. Wyoming has the ability to hold 750 million. Well, you think about that. That's 25% of what North Dakota has to offer. Mm-hmm. All right, now Illinois has the ability to hold somewhere between 12 and 172 billion. Now, less than North Dakota, maybe way less. And the reason they give such a stretched number between 12 and 172, and this is very important, I want everyone to listen to this, is that they have injected two wells. One of them approximately 12 years ago, one of them 3 years ago. Currently, both of these wells have an active leak into their aquifer.
What happens when the water leaks into an aquifer? What's the effect of that?
You're asking the wrong guy, but I can tell you it's not a good effect. And there's a lot of people that can answer. Google it and let them search it on themselves. People need to do their own homework. I didn't learn all this because I'm a scientist. I'm a roofer. I learned this because I wanted to know about what's going on. So, but let me tell you what Illinois did. They placed a moratorium, and it stays in effect for 2 years, and it doesn't expire until July 26. Now, the President of the United States, I believe, said something about that 45Q tax credits, which is what all this is about. Without it, we would not even be having this discussion. It's supposed to end in 2027. If we could hold the line and push this thing back, till then, it's going away. Now, there's going to be a lot of unhappy people. There's a lot of unhappy people that I'm running my mouth this morning. But I can tell you, it's my obligation as an American citizen to inform my fellow men of what this hazard is. So let's talk about Louisiana's capacity.
And we've got about 30 seconds. So go ahead.
Louisiana's capacity is 40% of the nation. It's 8.5 trillion metric tons. It's 20 times more than any other place around. And it's all coming here by pipeline. It's not stopping. It's coming to us. We're going to get it. I want to point this out real quick, guys, that Craig Smith is the president of the Rapides Parish Police Jury, but he's also the president of the Louisiana Police Jury Association. I believe Mr. Smith is a great man. I believe him and the police jury, we have a great police jury, are going to make a resolution that's going to work. And I believe the other 64 parishes, or a majority of them, are going to adopt that resolution. And I believe the way that Craig Smith's going to do this is he's going to go to the police jury, the Louisiana State Police Jury Association. He's going to sell this to the other presidents, and we're going to make a move, and Baton Rouge is going to listen, because our police juries, who are our county supervisors, our representatives, are going to bring the people's voice to Baton Rouge for us.
All right. There you have it, Mr. Boo Maddox. We are out of time. Thank you for your call this morning. We'll be back.
You've been listening to Talkback. The opinions expressed were those of the hosts and callers, and not necessarily those of Cenlaw Broadcasting. FM 104.9, AM 970, KSYL, and KRRV 100.3 HD3, Alexandria. It's 8 o'clock.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. The death toll has climbed to at least 104 from cataclysmic flooding in central Texas over the holiday weekend. Volunteer teams, some on horseback, have joined mounted police from Austin in a round-the-clock search along the banks of the Guadalupe River for anyone who might still be alive, including someone Sonny White knows.
We are still actively looking for our friend who is missing, but we've got his name on a lot of lists, and we've been going around to all the ERs and hospitals and Red Cross to get his name out there.
CBS's Jason Allen is in Ingram.
This is really slow and tedious work, right? These rescue crews are having to work in sections, a kilometer at a time, half mile or so at a time, until they can get things cleared. Only then can the heavy machinery come in and clear out all of this debris. And although rain chances are a lot lower than they have been over the past few days, anything that does fall now is falling on ground that is saturated.
Just days after he ordered a pause, President Trump says the U.S. will send more weapons to Ukraine.
We're going to send some more weapons. We have to. They have to be able to defend themselves. They're getting hit very hard now.
Officials in Ukraine say new Russian attacks have killed at least 11 civilians and injured more than 80 others, including 7 children. Negotiations are resuming in Philadelphia's week-old strike by municipal employees. Greg Bulware heads the largest union.
Unfortunately, a lot of us inside the city, not just our city workers, are experiencing difficulty with trying to keep pace.
With garbage piles growing, protesters dumped trash inside City Hall. Officials are urging people to make their own drop-offs at collection centers. Workers walked out in a contract dispute over wages. Churches get the go-ahead to endorse politicians from the pulpit.
Federal law does not allow tax-exempt nonprofits to campaign. But in a new court filing, the IRS says that ban should not apply to houses of worship speaking to their own members. The agency likens it to a family discussion about candidates. 2 Texas churches and a group of Christian broadcasters sued the IRS, demanding all nonprofits be allowed to endorse candidates. The National Council of Nonprofits warns that would allow political operatives to get big tax breaks as they funnel money to their candidates. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Looking for a new car? Ford is sweetening the pot. WWJ's Jeff Gilbert from Detroit.
This latest round of deals offers no interest financing for 48 months, as well as no down payment and no payments for 90 days. This runs through the summer.
Dow futures down 60. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Get renter's insurance to protect the things that make your place a home, including coverage for theft or damage. Visit Progressive.com.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
With travel costs up this summer, families are getting creative about how they save. Joe Saul-Sehy, host of the Stacking Benjamins podcast, says it starts with planning.
A rewards card can help you get more out of everyday spending, especially if those points are going toward things that you're going to need later.
GM Rewards and the GM Rewards MasterCard from Barclays offer points toward exclusive experiences, a new car, routine service, or digital features like OnStar. To learn more, visit experience.gm.com.
Louisiana Radio Network, I'm Jeff Palermo. The Republicans' One Big Beautiful Bill signed into law Friday provides tax breaks and increases funding for several GOP priorities. To pay for all of that, the budget bill reduces spending by $1.1 trillion over the next 10 years for Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act. Louisiana Democratic Party Executive Director Deidris Lanus spoke at the Baton Rouge Press Club.
It takes life-saving care away from those who need it the most just to fund tax breaks for billionaires and big corporations.
House Speaker Mike Johnson said on the Moon Griffon show there are no cuts to Medicaid in the budget bill. Johnson says the legislation instead strengthens the program by eliminating fraud and abuse. He says 1.4 million undocumented migrants will no longer receive Medicaid, and there are 4.8 million able-bodied workers gaming the system.
The problem is when you have people gaming the system, they're draining resources from the program, and it's not available for the people who desperately need it.
LRN.
Summertime in Cenla is here. Keep the fun sizzling while staying cool. Bounce into excitement at our indoor trampoline park and play centers. Cool off at local area arcades, or immerse yourself in creativity at Downtown Art and Children's Museums. Beat the heat and savor the flavors at our local restaurants. Your taste buds will thank you. Strike up some fun. Hit the lanes for some cool bowling adventure. Want more cool ideas? Visit explorealexandriapineville.com. 2 cities, 1 epic summer.
Good morning, a mixture of sunshine and clouds on our Tuesday, but a nice day. Afternoon highs getting up to the upper 80s to around 90. And we'll put a 20% chance of a stray shower or thunderstorm mainly during the afternoon. Now, a few clouds tonight, maybe a stray shower or thunderstorm again up until about 10. 71 the overnight low. And then sunshine on Wednesday with a chance of an afternoon shower or thunderstorm. From the Cenla Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Dave Gratian. 74 degrees in Cenla.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics. With 27 providers and 3 locations, someone can see you today.
It's Talkback, Central Louisiana's longest-running talk show. Whether it's the guests or the callers, Talkback is where Central Louisiana begins its conversation.
And good morning. Welcome back to Tuesday Talkback. If it's the second Tuesday of the month, it's Pineville Tuesday. Good morning, Mayor Bishop and Chief Operations Officer Basco. How are both of you doing today?
Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing this morning?
We're doing well, man. So it's the second Tuesday of the month is always the meeting for the city council for the 3 administrations. The mayor has come in. We appreciate you continuing the tradition to talk to the people about what's happening on the agenda, what's happening in Pineville. This is the earliest in the month it can ever happen when the second Tuesday falls on the 8th day of the month. It feels a little early in the month, but you guys are ready for tonight's council meeting, right?
Great. It's great to get out here and get a good positive message out to the citizens of Refuge Parish.
Well, before we get into the agenda, we want to chat about the big event last week with the fireworks over Bulow. Had a tremendous showing, a great turnout of people that came. A little bit of a disappointing finale that I know you want to talk about, but you have to be pleased with the turnout.
Most definitely, Nathan, because we've been planning this for several months and everything. We had several vendors there. The citizens was coming out, and you never can predict Mother Nature, and we passed up one storm, which we saw going through the ball area, and next thing you know, here comes a storm coming out of the south, and that one there is the one that really hit us. We had our DJ Tony Groove, which Tony Groove always puts on a great show.
He got the crowd fired up.
He gets the crowd all pumped up. And then we had the Bag of Donuts take the stage, and they started playing. I want to say they played about 5 or 6 songs, and then the rain and the wind, and then the entire stage was wet and just got to unsafe conditions for the band to play in with all the electricity and the cords and everything. So
I saw you hanging out with them too.
Absolutely.
Oh no, I saw that video backstage.
It's a fun group. They said, Mayor, come do a little video with us. We're looking forward to coming back to Pineville next year. So we already regrouped, and booked the Bag of Donuts for next year.
I heard through the grapevine that they're a personal favorite of yours.
It is. I mean, we love going to see the Bag of Donuts play throughout the state of Louisiana. So they're very high energy, and they get the crowd involved and stuff, and great music.
Well, I'm not a music aficionado, so I wasn't familiar with them. That just shows how naive I am on the music scene. But Steve told me they're one of the best cover bands around.
Yeah, they're awesome. They're fun.
So,
yeah, because you get the Bag of Donuts, and there's another band that's similar to them.
You got the Bag of Donuts, Chiwis.
Chiwi, Molly Ringwald. That's the one I was trying to think of.
L.A. Rocks is another one out of the New Orleans area.
I haven't seen that one.
We have some good entertainers there in the state of Louisiana.
Well, it was funny. Last year was Chiwis, if I remember, or whenever they were coming for something, I said something about Cheetos or Cheese Whiz, and everybody just laughs at me because I don't know a lot about music, but I'm glad. I will tell you, they put on the show the 5 or 6 songs that they did. I was very, very impressed with them, and the crowd really enjoyed them. I know they were disappointed, but I know they're looking forward to coming back.
Absolutely. And I know people were, some people was upset about we had to call off the fireworks. And like I said, once again, with the rain, the wind and stuff, and I know in Natchitoches sometimes they still shoot it with, light rain or anything. But when we looked around and we saw all the vendors packing up and leaving, I looked around and assessed how many people were still there and also around the lake. And it wasn't even 100 people. And that fireworks show, it would have cost, $22,500. And I cannot justify shooting off fireworks, for $22,000 and just a handful of people there. So we had to pay just a hard cost of him setting up and breaking down, which will probably be about $2,000. But we can carry them fireworks over to another event. So we've already prepaid, so we're not wasting taxpayers' money.
Well, that's got to be a tough call. I know everybody's looking at you at that moment. What do we do? What do we do? And you're looking at radar, you're looking at the vendors. You're seeing little pop-up tents flying away because it wasn't just rain. The wind was pretty strong.
Bad. Yes, it was.
As well. So it sounds like you've made a good decision on that. Do you have an idea of when you're going to do it again? You guys chatting about it, or are you just going to have some more consideration?
More consideration. We're going to talk and see what event we would like to, maybe Christmas in the Pines or something like that, or another event.
Okay. That sounds like a fun event. Now Christmas in the Pines has become very popular as well. And I doubt you would do it for the fall festival. I don't think that really ties into the family festival, but Christmas would be fun, New Year, somewhere along there. Well, good deal. With tremendous amount of work. You have a new special events coordinator. I'm not sure if that's the right title for Jarvis. Special projects. And he did a great job. Everything seemed to flow well. The police department, fire department were doing phenomenal. I tell you, I saw a lot of kayaks and boaters out there from the Cenla Water company that's out there.
Absolutely. They're utilizing the lake. People was out there renting kayaks and paddle boats and stuff. And we also had jumpers out there for the kids and stuff. So everybody was having a great time until the weather, run us off. But once again, hats off to the city employees in every department, how we work together as one team, setting up for this event. Everything was going very smooth until the weather run us off.
Yeah, well, great job. And, they've been around. This was the 20th annual, so they've got some experience, but it just seems to get better every single year. So congratulations on that.
And I know the mayor mentioned it, but, one of the things that it kind of hurts you whenever you see it is the vendors come out.
Right.
Some of them came out 7:30, 8 o'clock that morning. I know Stephen and I had kind of talked about when are they coming to kind of do some media on it. And you feel just horrible for them because they went and bought product that they've brought that they're, hoping for the crowd to show up. The crowd finally starts showing up. We got to cancel the event. It's just hard, terrible conditions, and they're packing up, leaving. But we're going to try and help them out. The next thing that we have, the vendor fee that they pay, we're not going to charge them for the deal. They've got one in the bank to be able to come close to something in the deal. So, because you want to recognize that, you want those vendors to come back, because that's part of what draws the crowd to come to Kona Ice or the little arcade thing that people brought the kids to.
Dude,
or whatever it may be.
that guy was super popular. I went in there and I spent about 20 minutes talking to the owner just to have a reason to stand in there. But yeah, that was great. You had some new vendors there. You had they were frying up a bunch of cracklins and some new folks there. So always very exciting. And I know you'll have some more great events coming up in the fall. That's exciting. Well, Mayor, tonight's City Council meeting, you'll have some old business and some new business. What stands out to you as important for tonight's agenda?
Well, once again, I'm all about cleaning up the city of Pineville. So we have 3 more houses on the condemnation hearing tonight to get these properties condemned and hopefully get some bids on removing them properties from the city. Also, there's one house, he was thinking about coming into the city limits, but we wanted to get some prices first on his sewer grinder pump. So we'll be talking to this family again, and more than likely we'll be moving forward with annexing that property on Donahue Ferry Road.
Can I ask you about that? I mean, we hear the word annexation. There are people who live, Pineville has kind of like a cut up city limits. It's people in and out. What are the advantages to people coming into or annexing into the city?
Well, as long as it's feasible for us to, offer you our product, water, garbage, trash, and sewer stuff, and you are close to the city limits, okay, you will be paying a cheaper water rate. Also, garbage and sewer be cheaper to you. Also, police and fire protection is closer to us, even though the sheriff's office and Holiday Village and all these other fire departments do a great, excellent job, but we're right there close and accessible to you. And we work together with the sheriff's office.
I remember some families I've spoken with, one specifically comes to mind. They actually saved money annexing because their water and their sewer went down so much it offset any taxes they would have paid. And then they got, twice a week garbage pickup, once a week trash pickup, which they didn't have before. And they were just tickled pink. So those who are considering it need to take a pencil out and look, because the taxes in Pineville are not that high.
They're not. And like I said, our millage is only, we generate 1.4 million a year. That's it.
And depending on where you come in at, if you're not hitting the Holiday Village dual coverage area, you could stand a chance that your homeowner's insurance will decrease because of the fire rate.
Have such a good fire rating. That's right. Very good. And of course, Pineville PD, which is pushing 100% occupancy. Hiring status, employment. There we go.
Like 98%, I think.
Yeah, so we weren't 100% until they stole that guy away from the state police. So
yeah, we had one guy leave to go to the state police last week, I think, when the academy started. So
yeah, a fully staffed police department is wildly unheard of.
Absolutely.
Across the country. So that's pretty amazing.
All right, we have a phone call, Mayor. We'd like to take that. Good morning. You're on Talkback with Mayor Bishop.
Yeah, I'm curious about the mayor's position on the public outcry against sequestration.
Okay. Thank you, Colin.
Good question, sir. Once again, I am leaving this up to the state of Louisiana, to the state representatives, state senators. We do want jobs here in Rapides Parish, okay? But we also want the safety of our citizens. I've worked 22 years with a natural gas company, okay, around natural gas all my life. And natural gas is a safe product. I don't know anything about the carbon capture stuff, but I do know about pipelines, and pipelines are safe if they're treated right. The blowout they had in Mississippi was a act of God. It was a flash flood. It blew out the dirt from underneath the pipeline, and the pipeline sagged and the well broke. So things can happen like that. We just saw, a natural disaster in Texas and stuff. But I do trust the city, the administration under the governor and them to make the right decision.
All right. Thank you, Colin.
I'll tell you what. If those plumes ruin our drinking water, I think that's something that you just simply cannot tolerate the chance of that happening.
Well, certainly appreciate your perspective. I know a lot of folks are taking time to study that and look into all the effects of it. I appreciate your call very much. One of the things, Mayor, I have appreciated about your leadership and the months that you've been there is your attention to the employees. And I've said to a few, I hope you don't take this the wrong way, but I've said I think it comes from your 22 years in the field because you were out there with shovels and backhoes. And I mean, you know what the guy feels like, and you've made sure to have him have the equipment that he needs and the support that he needs. And I know you're a big supporter of those employees.
Absolutely. It's like I said, it's one team and we're all working together. And if I need to get in the hole with them guys to help them out, I'll be there.
Very good. All right. Well, appreciate the caller. 442-8255, 318-442-8255. The BOM talk line is the number you can call. We're going to continue with the budget. I'm not the budget. We adopted a budget, but continue with the agenda for tonight's meeting.
Yes, sir.
So we've talked about condemnation hearings. We've got the annexation. We talked about the advantages of annexing. And then I see next up is the franchise agreement with Vexus. A lot of people are paying attention to that.
Yes, sir. So Vexus is a new fiber company that come into the city limits of Pineville, and we'll be passing on a franchise tax for them. And I think it's is it 4%, Daryl?
It's going to be 2 for residential and 4 for business.
Okay. So that'll be new money to the city of Pineville.
Standard money, standard agreements with anybody that's using the city's right-of-way.
Right-of-way, because we maintain our right-of-ways throughout the city and stuff, so Atmos Energy pays something, Coleco pays, everybody, Optima and Vexus will be a new company.
Now, Vexus they were already given a permission or temporary permission and they already have customers out there, so they're providing that service, but this formalizes that agreement. So people can contact Vexus for that. And then you have some zoning issues that are coming up under old business that kind of 3 different topics. We're dealing with parking and residential areas. Any highlights on that?
Yeah, those are just cleanups that one of the things that we did when we came in is trying to go through 2 different things. One, the city code to make sure that everything is updated in the proper place that it should be. We did some adjustments a couple of months back on rates and the amount that citizens were actually paying. We dropped some of the, like the lake rental. I forgot exactly what the numbers was, but we brought it down a little bit to make it a little bit more affordable. The ones that's on here is cleanup. As far as there's different appendixes when you look in the back. So if you're looking for a fee, we found that you went to Appendix D and you found the fee. You went to Appendix C and you found a fee. And you went to here and you found a fee. So we're just taking off everything and putting it in one place because, we use a system called MuniCode. A citizen can go at any time they want to on the internet, type in MuniCode Pineville. It pulls up the whole book of ordinances. So if you're using the internet to find an ordinance, when you find it and you go, oh, there's the fee to rent Main Street Community Center. I look here, but then I go to the website and it's a different number. So we're trying to put everything in one place to make sure that if a citizen looks, they get the right number, we get the right number. One of the things we found, there was different forms just floating around City Hall, people's little cork boards that had a different fee than what was inside the ordinance. So that's just part of cleanup of what we're doing. Whenever you look at the back and it talks about the sexual harassment, the ethics policy, those are things that we're taking the city policy manual, going to the most important ones right first, and then going through those line by line, bringing them up to date, using language from EEOC and from LMA and the different templates, using our attorneys, bringing the language together in one common place. So probably the next couple of months, you'll see more like, I think it's 25, 26. Yeah, you'll see more of those that are going to come around the next couple of months and different sections of the employee policy manual. The council gets to review it to make sure that they think it's something proper that the mayor is trying to put forward for the council, so it's for the employees. So it's kind of that check and balances.
Very good. Well, that's what's coming up on tonight's meeting. There are a few other things we'll come back to talk about. We've got to take this hard break. When we come back, we'll discuss more on the agenda and what's coming up around Pineville with Mayor Joe Bishop on Talkback.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
Put some fun in your future with Pleasure Pools. Right now, get a 16 by 32 in-ground pool for just $39,995. Financing available. Pleasure Pools has been building top-quality fiberglass, gunite, and vinyl pools across Louisiana and East Texas for over 30 years. Want more? Add a spa, waterfall, or custom feature, and we've got you covered for maintenance and remodeling too. Call 318-357-9000 or visit pleasurepoolsinc.com.
Success is about momentum. For over 20 years, Kinetics has been moving businesses forward with cutting-edge IT, cybersecurity, and marketing solutions while keeping them secure, innovative, and competitive. We power progress with next-gen business technology and marketing solutions designed to keep your business ahead of the competition. Need seamless IT, a bold new brand, a strategy built for what's next? Don't get left behind. Move forward with Kinetics. Visit kbisp.com and take the next step today.
If you'd like to take part in the show today, call the BOM Bank Talk line at 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. And remember, if you're looking to purchase or refinance your home, call Christina Bagwell at the BOM Bank Mortgage Department at 448-2430.
Now back to Talk Back, 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYL.
This is where Al goes, smooth grooves.
Oh, I know.
70 or something like that, right? Soft, yeah.
I was just thinking I'm like the odd man out here. It's like all the Pineville insiders, and I'm just sitting here listening to all the information.
You could have moved across the river.
I know, yeah. I've lived in Pineville more than Alex, so.
Yeah.
I'll make my way back over.
We'll fix that. All right. All right, we've got another call on the line. Good morning, caller. You're on Talk Back with Mayor Joe Bishop.
Yeah, Mayor Bishop, I'm not going to argue CO2 pipelines, but there's a website I would urge you to read. It's called YaleClimateConnection.org. And what it does, it details the experience we had in Illinois. Illinois is Decatur, Illinois, very first carbon sequestration site in the United States. And the reason why they picked that site is because it has a formation called the Mount Simon Sandstone, a deep saline formation of porous rock, especially suitable for carbon dioxide storage. Well, guess what? They pumped carbon dioxide down there and it's leaking. And it didn't take very long before it started leaking. Here's the issue. The issue is that carbon dioxide gets into those saline reservoirs beneath our subsurface water, pushing pressurized CO2 and brine resources would pose contamination risk. Brine is nasty. It has very high concentration of heavy metals, sometimes volatile organic compounds, and radionuclides such as radium. If it gets into our aquifers, what are we going to do with water?
Okay, once again, sir, I appreciate your concern, and that's my concern too. But also, too, the scientists and all the experts that work for the state of Louisiana, that is up to them, okay? I know on the local level.
Let me tell you something about LSU scientists. Scientists can be bought. I pointed that out to them. All those scientists up there saying, oh, it's safe and it's not going to leak, blah, blah, blah. Well, LSU finished some research center. It's a prestigious organization, I suppose. They did a study on sugar. They determined sugar had nothing to do with obesity. It was like exercise. Well, the study was paid for by Coca-Cola Company. So here it is. You cannot trust scientists. Scientists are going to come to the result that the entity paying them wants to come to. I'm sorry, that's the way it is.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate that. Say you trust the state of Louisiana, I can't imagine why you trust them. If those trial lawyers have a stranglehold on our state, and they will not do anything about it. It's all about money. That's all they care about.
I appreciate you very much for that call and the information. I've looked up that Yale ClimateConnections.org website. Look forward to digging into that. Mayor, let's continue. We've only got about 3 more minutes before our segment is up. So what other things on the agenda do you want to highlight, or other things happening around Pineville?
Well, 2 more things I want to point out. We have the Civil Service Board, okay? We have 2 people that need to be reappointed there, and that's Mr. Gerber Hebert and also Mr. Daniel Wilburn. And these people volunteer their time to come and sit on the Pineville Civil Service Board representing police and fire. And I do appreciate these people here. So any concerns with police and fire, they bring it to this board, they analyze it, they vote either yay or nay. And I do thank these people for volunteering their services for the city of Pineville.
And these are recommendations that come from Louisiana Christian University, because the Civil Service Board is made up of you have to have at least two recommendations from a four-year institution inside your corporate limits, and we're appreciative for LCU.
Absolutely.
Coming up with names that they would recommend. I know Mr. Wilburn's been on there for quite some years and has served as the chairman, and I know it's a difficult job at times, but we appreciate citizens stepping up on any of the boards they serve on.
That's right, exactly right.
All right, Stephen, the last 2 minutes. A hard-hitting journalistic question.
I'm just ready to see a bag of donuts again and fireworks. I'm curious to see when that's going to happen. So
absolutely, we plan more events and stuff. I want to get downtown Pineville more involved on the riverbanks by the flagpole. So I'm looking at this fall for like gumbo cook-offs, chili cook-offs, and also having barbecue cook-offs where people can come and actually eat the food. Okay, not just come and watch people barbecue.
Come on now.
That way you can either donate money to get a plate or something, and they can donate that money to a non-profit organization. So that's what we want to bring to Pineville.
I know you guys are cleaning up that spot out there with the dilapidated houses, and I mean that's such a gem in Central Louisiana, that area.
All that's fixing to get started this month, and I'd love for you to come out and shoot some footage. Okay,
shoot me a text. I'll be there.
Absolutely.
That is great. Did Pineville's USAR group get called up for the Texas floods? I was confused.
The chief contacted me this past weekend and everything, and put me on standby. And I told him, I said, look, whatever we can do to assist in Texas, but we want to make sure our citizens are covered here in Pineville. So they did hold off because they had to have wetsuits and stuff, and our guys didn't have that, but they might be heading down there for searching.
Some of the recovery efforts.
Stuff.
Well, USAR, Urban Search and Rescue, I believe is what that stands for.
Yeah.
And Pineville is the hub for that in Central Louisiana.
Yes.
And I know that they, I hate to say enjoy serving, but because you don't enjoy the product if you're having to do recovery, but it's certainly a high noble calling to be involved in serving humanity during difficult seasons.
But our prayers and thoughts go out to the people in Texas.
Absolutely. Well, Mayor, our time is up. Thank you so much for taking your time to come talk with us and share what's happening in Pineville. Any final words?
Nope. Thank you, and God bless each and every one of you.
All right, we'll see you tonight.
Bye-bye.
Back with more after this.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Heading to the airport, soon you may not have to worry about removing your shoes to go through standard airport security checkpoints. Sources tell Bloomberg that the Transportation Security Administration is planning to update its policies. To make the change, the reversal would end a policy that has been, for nearly 2 decades, one of the most visible and criticized features of the post-9/11 heightened U.S. airport security system. Walmart and Amazon kick off their summer sales promotions today, but some online merchants who provide about 60% of the products sold on Amazon's web store say they can't afford to offer discounts this year because they're trying to boost prices to offset the increased cost from tariffs. Futures have been mixed this morning after President Donald Trump unveiled the first in a wave of promised letters that threatened to impose higher tariff rates on key trading partners, but he suggested that he was still open to additional negotiations and pushed off increased levies until at least August 1st. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
The clinics welcome Dr. Noah Miller, family medicine physician, to our team. Dr. Miller from Vadrine, Louisiana, is now accepting new patients. Call today to schedule your appointment. The clinics offers a wide range of services, including primary care, family and chronic care, urgent and acute care with on-site lab and x-ray. Same-day appointments are available, and we accept most insurance and Medicare. Experience exceptional care at the clinics, 1587 North Bolton. Call 445-9823 or look us up online at theclinics.us.
Attention all real estate agents, property owners, and lenders. When you or a client needs a real estate attorney, call the professionals at Thompson Law Firm. Whether the legal matter is basic or complex, the Thompson Law Firm can accurately guide you or your client to a successful outcome. That's why numerous industry professionals have trusted the Thompson Law Firm for years. They also handle estate planning, successions, and business law. Call them at 473-0052. I am a paid non-client attorney spokesperson.
Working as a dedicated Fidelity advisor, I always ask, what's important to you? I'll look at those priorities and goals alongside your full financial picture to build a comprehensive plan designed to help grow and protect your wealth. With proactive portfolio insights and an eye on taxes, I'm here to help you make the most of your money. I'm Laura Maxwell, and I'm a dedicated Fidelity advisor. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Good morning. A mixture of sunshine and clouds on our Tuesday, but a nice. Put a 20% chance of a stray shower. Stray shower, thunderstorm again up until about 10. 71 the overnight low. And then sunshine on Wednesday with a chance of an afternoon shower or a thunderstorm. From the Cenla Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Dave Grayson. Currently 78 degrees in Cenla.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. To take part in the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. TalkBack.
Welcome back to Talkback for Tuesday, July the 8th. We're glad to have you along with us. We just enjoyed an interview with Mayor Joe Bishop of Pineville and his Chief Operations Officer, Daryl Basco. Stephen has stepped out to do a follow-up with them for the Cenla Broadcasting updates that'll come online a little bit later in the day. But right now, super excited to be joined on the phone line with Dr. David Ballantyne, who is author of a new book called Fractured Freedoms, and it is the Reconstructing Central Louisiana. Dr. David Ballantyne from England. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. Doing great. Thank you for having me on.
Wonderful. We appreciate you taking the time to call us this morning as you make your way back to New Orleans. We would have loved to have had you in the studio, but understand that travel arrangements don't always allow that type of in-person. But what we are excited about is having you here on the air with us to talk about a book that just been released from LSU Press, and that gives us a new view of something that a lot of people have not been familiar with, and that is the Reconstruction era coming out of Civil War in the southern United States, specifically focusing on rural areas. Last night, you were at LSUA giving a update to quite a large group that gathered to hear you from all around the state. And we appreciate you taking the time to call in this morning. Want to get a little feedback from you about what motivated you to investigate this and do some exploration into this topic.
Sure. Well, first off, I, as you can tell from the accent, I'm a British academic. I was really interested, through university in Southern U.S. politics and in civil rights. And race. More broadly, I came to this from 20th century. So when I was a PhD student, I looked at someone called Fritz Hollings, who was a South Carolina senator for many years in the mid and late 20th century. And it honestly, a lucky sequence of events meant that I joined, I think, a postdoc there a job opportunity after doing my PhD in the Netherlands with Professor Adam Fairclough and a colleague there, Mark de Vries, looking at Reconstruction in Louisiana. I think it seems like more and more relevant to understand that these efforts at building democracy. That's how I came to it, and it's a slightly winding way to Alexandria in central Louisiana, but it's been fascinating to research and spend some time in the States.
You are a senior lecturer in American history at Keele University in England. And it makes me wonder, how much interest is there in American history back in England?
I mean, there's certainly a lot. Keele and several other places has a center. The name changes slightly, but it's a center for the study of the Americas now, or previously for American studies. So there's a great deal of interest in the United States and North America, and that part of the world more generally. I mean, it's clearly like trying to understand world powers. It's an area of great interest. I mean, from my own personal perspective, it's also nice to be able to come somewhere. It may sound self-involved here, but you get to go and see interesting places, eat interesting food, meet interesting people. It's a very fortunate job to be able to do.
So I listened to you last night talking with Dr. David Ballantyne from Keele University, wrote the book Fractured Freedoms, Reconstructing Central Louisiana. You shared last night that at the time of the Reconstruction, Rapides Parish was the second largest parish in the state of Louisiana, obviously quite a bit smaller population-wise than Orleans Parish, but nevertheless the second most populous parish. And LSU Press says that your case study reveals what is in part a rural Reconstruction success story. How do you view that? Why is it important to look at the Reconstruction or the effects of Reconstruction in a rural area versus what many people have studied, Orleans and other larger areas in the South?
Well, I'd say that most people in the 19th century, certainly in the South, lived in rural areas. For most people experiencing the end of the Civil War, the end of slavery, black citizenship and voting rights. These are things that most people experience on, if I say on the ground level in rural areas. New Orleans is pretty unusual in being such a large city there in relation to the rest of the state. So I think by looking at places like Rapides and other sort of rural parishes in the case of Louisiana, you get a sense of how things look for many people. One of the things that in the 19th century, the federal government isn't, or it has power, but it's very sort of limited. If your listeners are interested in this, historians like Greg Downs and Kate Mazza talk about this idea of it being a stockade state. So essentially, where the federal government is or where there are troops, it's able to impose its will. But there are huge parts of the United States that it can't. So it's a really sort of uneven experience of how people experience day-to-day life, and maybe what's happening in Washington, D.C. You can say one thing, but actually implementing things is very different. So I think it's really helpful to see how things look in different places. And places like Rapides, I think it's a really fascinating study for looking at Reconstruction, partly because it's at this crossroads of Louisiana culture and agriculture, and it has quite a lot of influence over the politics of the state at the time. So immediately before the Civil War and after, we have governors there. So Thomas More was the governor when Louisiana left the Union. James Madison Wells was first post-war governor of the state as well. So there are these really influential figures from the area as well.
We appreciate that. We're hearing from Dr. David Ballantyne from Keele University in England, who has written Fractured Freedoms, Reconstructing Central Louisiana. He gave a presentation last night at LSUA, touted as probably the only one he'll give in Louisiana. I hope that's not the case, but we'll be back with more with Dr. Ballantyne right after this.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics, with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
When you're going through something.
Hey folks, it's Tommy Walter inviting you to Blues and Cues, July 11th at the Riverfront Center in downtown Alexandria. Come enjoy Crystal Thomas, Sam Joyner, Amy Allen, and MC Tony Groove. Plus, free. That's free barbecue. Doors are open at 6:30. The show starts at 7. Tickets are free, but the number is limited, so grab yours today at thomasbwalter.com.
Let's give them the blues.
Storms, tornadoes, power outages. It's the season, so get prepared. Get storm ready with Southern Air. Get a free estimate on a generator, the right generator for your home and family, plus 0% financing for 60 months with approved credit. Let Southern Air help you take the worry out of hurricane season. Take action now. Visit southernairnow.com and let us bear it. Or give us a call at 318-777-5555. Keep the lights on with Southern Air.
Now back to Talk Back. 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO.
And we welcome you back to Talk Back on this, there we go, lovely Tuesday morning, July the 8th, as we are joined by Dr. David Ballantyne, University of Kiel University senior lecturer on American history. He's written the book Fractured Freedoms, Reconstructing Central Louisiana. This is obviously after Civil War. And Dr. Ballantyne, you made the case last night that there was some success in the Republican Party in Rapides Parish, largely due to the fact it was considered, I think, from what I understood you to say, the larger black population in Rapides Parish that were given the right to vote. And for about 8 years or so, there was success in Rapides Parish until the collapse of the state level Republican power in 1877. And you made an interesting comment that I talked to you about afterwards. You said that there was corruption rampant everywhere, all throughout the South with Reconstruction. I guess with the opportunities that people had to make money, there was high levels of corruption everywhere. But you said Louisiana is unique because they're just a little more honest about their corruption. Is that right?
Yeah, I said words to that effect. I can't claim to have great originality in claiming that if Louisianans were perhaps more frank at the time for corruption. I think there's this idea, like one of the governors of Louisiana, Henry Clay Warmoth, in the during Reconstruction claimed that corruption is the fashion down here. But I think it's more. I want to emphasize that 19th century politics is corrupt. There's an expectation that people, many people go into politics to make money, and I think, seeing very transactional. In some ways, you can see there are obviously huge issues at play around so the end of the Civil War and Reconstruction. There are big questions about who gets to be a citizen. What should freedom for 4 million enslaved people look like? Should they get the right to vote? And what comes with all of this. So there's also this element of making money, and especially in hard times, people look for ways to make money, or did look for ways to make money there. But there certainly is corruption during Reconstruction in Louisiana and elsewhere. I don't think it's necessarily a unique case. Where sometimes I think perhaps it can be kind of hot down here, quite hot and humid. There's a sense of Louisiana being something somewhat exotic. But I'd say the corruption side, there is corruption around locally at the state level, but it isn't. I don't think it's completely different from what's going on elsewhere.
Dr. David Ballantyne from Kiel University gave a great presentation last night. Your book is not a light tome. It's how many pages are in this hardback book?
I'll just take a look right now. It's around 300, or if you take the index as well, it makes it up to 309.
Well, it's a nice, good inch thick book. Yeah, I'm sorry I cut you off.
Oh, you're fine. Yeah, so 200 plus pages of text. Of course, with many academic books, you have the notes as well at the end to show where this information comes from, the sort of materials I've been using along the way. I should add as well, I want to thank from yesterday, Michael Wynn very kindly invited me over to come and speak Bernard Gallagher at LSUA, and LSUA helped set up for me to be able to speak at all. For those who listen who are interested in Central Louisiana history and literature, I recommend they look out for events that Michael Wynn has been putting on. It seems like a really great set of events and initiatives that he's been pushing.
I hope they took you somewhere good to eat. Where'd you go?
Ate back at the house afterwards, but it was really.
Oh, good. Okay.
I did manage to pick up a pie today, so hopefully I'll be enjoying peach pie later.
Well, besides corruption, we're really good at food here. So.
Well, your book has received high praise. I know you cover things like William Tecumseh Sherman. You cover the Colfax riots in the 1870s, and kind of everything in between. What were the sources you used to research your book?
There's a really good selection around refugees. That's another reason why looking at Central Louisiana can work well, because there's a lot of surviving newspapers. You tend to get Democratic surviving newspapers. So at the time, the Democratic Party was the party that was very much opposed to black voting, black office holding as a general rule. But you have a great selection of Democratic newspapers, some Republican ones as well. So you get a sense of different perspectives there. Quite a lot of letters at places like some held at LSU Alexandria, some in Baton Rouge. Your business records as well. Lots of congressional investigations, which if your listeners are keen to sleuth on the internet to find, much of this has been digitized, which is really helpful. But a mix of those and military records as well. You can find out a lot about things as well, from things like censuses or agricultural schedules as well. Essentially stuff that tracks who owns what land, what's being done on it, do they own it, do they rent, that sort of thing. There are lots of different ways that you get that, trying to sort of make a picture of how things looked and how things changed between what I tried to do in the book, look more or less between 1860, so just on the cusp of the Civil War through to about 1900. But really, the things that most interest me are between like 1860s and it's about 1880 there. So sort of war, end of slavery, and Reconstruction there.
Dr. David Ballantyne, our guest, author of Fractured Freedoms, available from lsupress.org, amazon.com, or any place where you can buy reputable books. It's available in a hardback version or an ebook version if you'd like to go that route. And you're headed back to England, I believe, soon.
Fairly soon. Going to go and enjoy time in Louisiana I can for the next few days. It's a really nice place to come and visit. I've already mentioned food. It's certainly I enjoy experiencing while I'm here. But I'll be back. Soon enough. Back in the UK, I'll be putting jumpers on or all of that top. Wearing long trousers.
Well, I don't know. You definitely want shorts here in Louisiana in the summertime. I don't know if an academic like yourself is on social media, but there are a couple of Brits. They call themselves Josh and Jace, who spent a month in Louisiana, and they're kind of introducing Louisiana to Great Britain, to England, and they fell in love with our food and our friendship. So you might want to look them up. And I hope you go back home with equally a warm feeling about the hospitality you received in Louisiana.
Absolutely, very much so. Thanks so much for having me on there.
Thank you so much. Dr. David Ballantyne, author of Fractured Freedoms. We'll be back with more right after this.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics, with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you could hear Old Spice Fiji Antiperspirant, what would it sound like? First, you'd start with Fiji Antiperspirant's amazing scent of palm trees. Add pure notes of fresh coconut and layer on 24/7 odor and sweat protection. You won't hear any dyes or parabens because with Fiji, you won't have any. So while your regular antiperspirant sounds like this, Old Spice Fiji sounds like this. Sounds like it smells amazing.
All of us have that one friend who can just light up the room with a smile. And sadly, how many of us are just a little bit envious of that friend? Well, here's the good news. The folks over at Today's Dental in Pineville can deliver that beautiful beaming smile. Over the years, hundreds of hopeful patients have visited and been completely satisfied. They've made getting dental implants an amazingly simple, low-anxiety procedure, one that's affordable for anyone's budget. The staff at Today's Dental go out of their way to make you feel comfortable with calming in-office IV sedation that's administered by a highly skilled, certified nurse anesthetist. And their multiple finance options make the entire procedure truly affordable. Isn't it your turn to light up that room? Give Today's Dental a call at 448-4540. It's a general dental facility on Highway 28 East in Pineville, owned by Dr. Jonas Gauthier. That's 448-4540.
To take part in the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. Now back to Talk Back.
Welcome back to Talk Back on this lovely Tuesday morning, July the 8th. We're going to go to the phone lines. Good morning. You're on Talk Back with Stephen and Nathan.
Hey, Big Steve, how y'all are there?
Morning. Big C, how are you, sir?
Good morning. Great interviews and everything.
Well, thank you, sir.
I hope Mayor Bishop will let people talk at the meeting tonight. I'm not feeling too well, so I know I won't be coming. But I do pay Pineville taxes every time I go over there and buy stuff from Pineville. So at least I pay Pineville taxes. But
we will miss you, Cornelius. You're always very respectful, and even though folks may not agree with everything you say, you handle yourself with decorum and appreciate you.
I tried to. But look, I wanted to bring up another thing. If I told Mike Wynn to call y'all yesterday. I'm glad the professor was able to call in today. That was a great interview. Big Steve, I know you didn't get a chance to go to Melder, but if you go to Urban Cast, they went to Melder, and they said it was about 1,000 people down there at that Baptist church. So people are being aware, and I hope Mr. Bishop changed his mind about this, because the experts can lie too, Mr. Bishop. They lied about COVID. And so many of the callers are just so well educated on this carbon capture, you just wouldn't believe. But God bless you, gentlemen. God bless America.
Thank you, sir. We got a couple comments, like where was the hard questions? They were asking about some of his property that he owns in that area at the old IP mill, talking about the mayor. I did a whole report on that, came in over the weekend on my day off and put that together. So you can check that out on our Facebook pages and read all about that. So I've asked him, we've talked about it extensively, and you can look at that response on my Facebook page as well.
He was not bashful about answering your questions, and I found him to be responsive when folks have questions for him.
For sure, but you can look that up for sure.
All right, Cornelius, thank you for your call again. As always, we appreciate hearing from you. The BOM talk line at 318-442-8255 is available. It's a great opportunity to call in. I did go in and watch some of the Pine Ridge live stream, and I got to see about half of it or a little bit more. The Bruce LeBlanc presentation was very similar to what he had given in Philadelphia, so I fast forwarded through that and listened to a lot of the questions and comments from people that were there. people are certainly very passionate. And as we can tell, the last few days, it seems to be the dominating conversation here with phone calls. And it's important to people. We totally understand.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's go back to the phone line and see. I'm not going to take bets on what the topic is, but good morning. You're on Talkback with Stephen and Nathan.
Hey, I thought you were a minister. You don't take bets.
That's what I said. I'm not going to take bets.
Hey, yeah, I just wanted to say that there's a lot of stuff that it seems like it's one-sided out there, especially at the meetings. But I found that your show really helps me make more of an educated decision.
Oh, that's great.
You. Good to hear.
You know what I wish we could do?
Appreciate it.
I wish someone would set up a meeting, invite Dr. Bruce LeBlanc, or I don't know if he's doctor, I forget, but invite Bruce LeBlanc and invite the LSU scientists and ask them, kind of like a little debate between them on their perspectives.
That's a great idea, but I wouldn't hold my breath, but I can try.
That would be great, Steve. Now, if you can get them on a three-way Zoom, that would be a phenomenal conversation, a moderated conversation from people on different perspectives, respectful. We've tried to maintain here in the studio neutrality, right? Fairness. But I think that would be phenomenal.
Even the LSU scientist, Greg Upton, who came down and talked on behalf of carbon capture sequestration, he talked to me afterwards and says, look, we appreciate people asking questions. We want to be open and honest. And, of course, the other side, too, has their thoughts and opinions. It's important to get both sides and understand the issue because it will affect everybody.
Absolutely. All right, time for one last call. Good morning. You're on Talkback with Stephen and Nathan.
Yeah, real quick. Look, I know Labor Day isn't as big a holiday as, say, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, but maybe Labor Day would be a good time to have the fireworks. The days will be shorter, so they can start sooner and maybe a hair cooler. So just throw that out there. Maybe have the fireworks on Labor Day.
Well, very good. I'll toss that to the mayor this evening at the city council meeting.
I was trying to think of some random holiday just so we can have it sooner than later.
Right.
When's Leif Erikson Day? I don't know.
Leif Erikson Day. That's great. Hey, caller, thank you for that suggestion. We appreciate it.
We could have Christmas in July.
Well, that's been done. I just normally you shop indoors because it's so hot. I did like his idea of Christmas in the Pines, but that puts it off until December. So
it'll be here before you know it.
It will be. It will be. In fact, today is the first day of Prime Days at Amazon.
Oh, that's
so you can do some Christmas shopping today and save some money.
Don't tell my wife.
Do you shop in advance for Christmas?
I barely shop for Christmas. I am the worst. I am a dude when it comes to that.
You are a dude. Man. That's right. All right. Well, that's it for today. We appreciate everybody joining in with us tomorrow. Come back. It'll be Al and Stephen on Wednesday morning, and they'll be taking your phone calls and
been listening to
all that.
The opinions expressed were those of the hosts and callers.